too fast without warning, and when it rains it's pouring. I got dreams, big dreams, I wanna do big things, but I just can't seem to put it all together. I just wanna be seen. I'm jumping ship, I'ma dive in, middle of the ocean, swimming till I find it. I see an island out ahead, filled with things that I've wanted since I was a kid. Swim to it with every muscle I've got, sucking down water in my lungs till I cough. But I won't give up, I'll never stop till I wash up on the sand or my heart finally stops. I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best. Deep within my mind, I'll put all my fear to rest. Cause I will be the best, yeah, I'll be the best that I can. I gotta study, I'll cram, I gotta make up a plan to give me some kind of chance. I gotta enter a new mode or else I'll get KO'd. My life's at a crossroad, I'm ready to reload. I gotta learn some kind of lesson from my past. I made mistakes but I learned how to react. I love the chase but I need a new path to have a chance to get what I wanna grab. A good life has a good purpose, something that makes everything that you're doing worth it. Something with a bigger meaning that's under the surface, cause that's what's gonna keep you working. It's a journey to make it, I got a life in the making. I choose how I'm gonna shape it, I got new lights in rotation. I flip a switch, I'm fixated, I'm sick of patience and waiting. My destiny is awaiting. I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best. Deep within my mind, I'll put all my fear to rest. Cause I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. This life is a journey worth taking, every breath in it is sacred. It gets hard and frustrating, but trust me, you just gotta embrace it. Cause what's a journey without enemies? You need some friends, a foe, and an identity. You need an arc, a battle, a little tensity. Create a little bit of energy. I know. Hey, 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 hey. Ooh. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Ooh. Hey, hey, hey.
Good evening. On behalf of Declamation Speech, we would like to welcome you to the 5th annual William Saroyan public speaking competition. Tonight, instead of the normal 10 finalists, we have 12 students who will strive to present their speeches one more time to you, the audience. This year, the theme is ambition and how humanity shows this trait in all kinds of areas of life. Afterwards, as our judges deliberate, we will present another speech that had an impact on our secondary fives.
The tough decision of choosing this year's winner will fall on the shoulders of 4 esteemed judges who graciously donated their time tonight. The first judge is a newcomer to the panel, but not a stranger to providing a critical eye. She founded a marketing group known as Maison Branding and is heavily involved in all aspects of school activities. Here is Nayiri Joukakelian.
The next judge on the panel has been to many sporting events as a fan, but most recently as an editor, making sure the story is out there. Once an editor at Yahoo Sports Canada, he is now the lead NBA editor at Give Me Sports. Let's welcome Oliver Nevin.
Each year, the judging panel has one seat open for the winner of last year's competition. Her winning speech had the audience floored, and rightly so. Please welcome, from the class of 2023, last year's William Saroyan Public Speaking Competition winner, Lea Donabedian.
Finally, last and certainly not least, the final member in this year's panel is our returning head judge. Whether it's running for office, educating our youth, or being a friendly urbanist, This individual is well suited to guide our panel to making the right decision. Here is Shan Karabaja. So before we begin, we would like to invite the organizer of this event, Mr. Liu, to present a speech of his own.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm going to make this the shortest speech you're going to hear all night. When I think of the class of 2024, I think about all kinds of things. I've mentioned their names to a whole bunch of people throughout the year, and the first reaction I usually get is, them? And I think to myself, why do they get that reaction whenever I talk about them? And it's very, very simple. Because they've had a reputation in the past. However, I've got to know all 51 of them in a different light over the course of the last 5 years, whether it be in class during the pandemic, doing projects like this, and I can truly tell you, what they do lack sometimes in maturity, and believe me, they do lack maturity. They do make up for it in the most perseverant class I've ever seen in my 15 years at this school. So tonight, I cannot wait for them, all 12 of them, no exceptions, to present you their speeches. And afterwards, for the first time ever, we're going to present something a little bit different. Still from our secondary fives, something that actually moved me. And I hope this year's competition will be different, but hopefully one that will motivate you to be ambitious. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming out. And hosts, let's carry this away.
The scene is set. We are now ready to get underway with the competition. During the first few weeks of January, 51 students from the class of 2024 presented their speeches during class. From that, only 12 remain. The purpose of tonight's speeches of 5 to 7 minutes is to convince the audience that their topic shows how humanity is ambitious. Now it is time to begin.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
Here's our first finalist, Ruben Karaian from Secondary 5A.
Good evening. Do you know how much inflation rates have increased in the past 10 years? Well, let me tell you that prices have soared by a staggering 40%, which shows us to what extent everything, whether it be food, gas, housing, is getting exponentially more expensive as the years go on. Evidently, it is absolutely crucial that each and every single one of us acknowledges the importance of financial well-being in this economy, that is, wealth. So, since we were kids, we often looked up to wealthy individuals in our society, as they were often associated with success. Therefore, today, I'm going to be taking a look at some motivating factors related to wealth. So what are those factors? Number one, financial stability. Now, this one is especially relevant to the Gen Zers due to the high cost of living that they are exposed to upon entering the workforce. Number two, employee recognition, which, unfortunately, a lot of companies are unaware of. And finally, number three, employee ownership, whereby employees take charge of their own development, as well as the success of their team or company. Firstly, it is important to consider the correlation between inflation and financial stability. As years go on, inflation rates get higher and higher, and that is why achieving financial stability becomes much more of a difficulty for individuals. And that is where wealth becomes a much more important part in their day-to-day life. Now, a 2016 study from JobSite Monster showed that approximately 70% of American Gen Zers named salary as their top job motivator. Now, it's funny because our parents always used to tell us to go with passion rather than money. But unfortunately, in 2024, it just seems impossible to do so. Furthermore, 2022 data from Bank of America showed that a sizable percentage of American Gen Zers had difficulty saving and paying down for their debt. Now, this shows us to what degree financial stability is a critical motivator, especially when it comes to the younger generations, such as Generation Z. Moving on to employer recognition. Now, this one goes way beyond getting paid for a normal job. Here, we're talking about getting awarded for putting in an extra effort. By doing so, employees become more productive, which in turn has many positive effects in the workplace. Like Dale Carnegie said, people work for money, but go the extra mile for recognition, praise, and rewards. And indeed, as found by the Society for Human Resource Management, the companies with employee recognition witnessed a 63% increase in employee productivity compared to others. And guess what employee productivity leads to? You guessed it, increased wealth, not only for the individuals working in the company, but also for the company itself. Finally, employee ownership. Now, employee ownership is similar to employee recognition in the sense that it is another workplace-related factor. It allows employees to develop a sense of responsibility within themselves and to feel like they're a valuable part of the company. According to a Harvard Business Review article entitled, "When Empowering Employees Works and When It Doesn't," empowering team members is a proven strategy for achieving better results. Now, it's safe to say that many benefits in the workplace can greatly affect one's productivity, hence making them give better overall result, which in turn may lead to more wealth down the road. Now, taking a look at these three factors, namely financial stability, employee recognition, and employee ownership, requires a big deal of financial maturity, which can only start with financial literacy. Now, financial literacy allows a person to understand the importance of money, but it also helps guide them in using financial tools to generate wealth for themselves. Like Mary Mahoney, Society for Human Resource Management's Chief Financial Officer said, by incorporating financial literacy into the workplace, employees and corporations reap many benefits, including increased productivity and retention. Now, if the world were to carry out this proposal of increasing financial literacy rates, a lot could change. Just imagine a country where the opportunities are endless. A country like Canada. But just imagine that you don't have the necessary competencies to make the most out of your money. Now, that would be pretty disappointing if I do say so myself. However, by teaching younger children the different methods to take to achieve financial stability at a relatively young age, or different paths to take to generate wealth for themselves, a lot of people can take advantage of that necessary knowledge and become more ambitious when it comes to wealth. After all, how is one truly supposed to understand the value of money if they're not being taught of its importance at school or in other teaching institutions? It's so funny that so many schools emphasize so much on subjects like history, math, science, which isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But on the other hand, they pay very little attention to financial literacy, even though no matter the country, no matter the social status, each and every single individual on this planet is eventually going to be facing money-related issues in their lifetime. Now, to come to a conclusion, it is clear that many of us are driven by wealth. But do we necessarily act upon it? I don't think so. It all starts with motivation and knowledge on how to achieve our financial goals while still being as productive as possible in our jobs. There is simply no alternative to financial literacy. Don't you agree? Thank you.
Congratulations. Very good speech. I think you demonstrated good command of topic and subject matter. You had a really strong connection with the audience throughout the entire speech. You had great eye contact as well. You were very clear and concise with your message delivery. You kept the audience engaged throughout the entire speech, which is really important, with your body movement, with your articulation, with your message delivery. And the last point that I want to make, which I really appreciated, is the fact that you used a lot of references to validate and to justify your points. Congratulations, good job, very well done.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah.
The second competitor is Ashod Kataroyan from Secondary 5B.
Unity is by far the most powerful force known to man, because people are unbreakable when they are united. And throughout history, the most powerful rulers have known this to be true. Thus, when wanting to gain power over a certain nation, have aimed to break the unity of the people, even before stepping onto the battlefield. From 4,000 years ago up until today, they have used the principle of divide and conquer. Because to divide is to put one against the other. It is to emphasize the differences between people instead of celebrating them. With dividends, there is no room for love. There is no room for collaboration. But most importantly, people don't respect one another. And this weakens any society. And this weakens any society. Because what is a man all by himself? How come that certain individuals have the audacity to hate one another? If you think about it, no person is great enough to disturb the peace between two men, because we are all born as equals in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of God. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Roman emperors who ruled around the year 160, had a slave sit behind him and follow him around everywhere he went, just so he could whisper into his ear, "You're just a man." To him, this was a constant reminder that we are all just people on this earth. We are all different. We all make mistakes. But that doesn't give us the right to hate each other, to disrespect one another. It's quite the opposite, actually. To be human is to love and to care for the person in front of you, regardless of your differences. Our power to unite is what makes us human, above all. Now, the best, most ideal thing for our world today would be world unity, right? For the whole world to live hand in hand in harmony. But this has never been the case, and we are nowhere near today. The world is a mess, and we have armed conflicts in every corner of the map. Israel is relentlessly bombarding Palestine. Russia and Ukraine have been massacring each other since 2022. And isn't it interesting how the Russian people actually originate from Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, yet they kill each other over some useless politics? It is obvious that our world is in need of a change. Our world needs unity. Not only to go forward as a civilization, to make groundbreaking discoveries, to solve global issues, but for now, just enough to stop losing millions of lives every single day. It's 2024. Us humans have lived and have evolved for over 300,000 years. We've launched spacecrafts. We've created supercomputers. Yet even monkeys can live more peacefully than we can at the zoo. And although this is an ambitious endeavor, we must pursue it. Now, why aren't we capable of living in unity? As a secondary 5 student, I believe that one of the main reasons for this is the lack of education in our world. As humans, it is in our nature to hate or to condemn certain things that we may dislike in our society. And although this may be the case, it is obviously not the right thing to do. Doesn't it make more sense to find logical solutions to our problems? Whether it be a huge societal issue like world hunger or a day-to-day conflict like racism. Together, we can improve our society instead of just spreading useless negativity. But in order to work together, we must all be tolerant of one another to a certain extent, right? But this isn't emphasized enough in the school system. In fact, Scientific American says that there is no unity without tolerance. Because when you are tolerant, you approach a human interaction in a completely different way. When you are tolerant, you take a look at the other person's perspective. When you are tolerant, you are more eager to listen and not to dismiss or even worse, to hate the person in front of you. Tolerance is a completely different mindset, and it's the optimal way of thinking if we want to live together like dignified people. However, not everyone is born with the gift of being able to live in any social circle. But I believe that if a person is determined enough to do so, then they can develop a certain trait. And although it might be difficult, it is not impossible to change. In fact, the University of Wisconsin did a study on a Buddhist monk called Mathieu Ricard. And today, he is known as the happiest person on earth, according to the New York Times. And the studies conducted show that a normal human being can live a happier life just by adding a few simple changes to their day-to-day routines, like having more optimistic thoughts or appreciating the little things in life. All this to say that change is possible, and that with the right guidance, people can become more forbearant, and we can build a more unified world brick by brick. Unity is a very powerful force, and it is our responsibility as human beings to educate each other and to teach each other the importance of unity and the benefits that this will bring to ourselves, to our future, and to the human race. And as Martin Luther once said, we must learn to live together like dignified people, or to perish together as fools. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that we're fools. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Ashod. First of all, congratulations. Your speech was very good. You had a really strong eye contact with the audience. Your voice tonality was excellent. I also loved how you not only demonstrated examples of unity, which is obviously very relevant, but you also gave examples from today's life, like how you talked about Israel and Palestine or about Ukraine. I loved how you highlighted like the consequences of not having unity, and I think that's really important. Thank you so much for your speech.
Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah.
The next contestant is Lea Donabedian from Secondary 5B.
Fake it till you make it is a piece of advice we've all heard at least once in our lives. But what is worth faking? Are you truly happy working your 9-to-5 job, doing the same routine every day, and only being able to continue pushing because you try to find things to look forward to? Although I'm still a high school student, I'm guilty of this. Monday arrives, and I start counting down the days until Friday. I only want the weekend to arrive, so I only enjoy 2 days out of 7, Saturday and Sunday. Even though I'm not miserable at school, I have no reason not to be happy. My bad habit? I don't live in the moment. This is why this pointer that is often repeated to us, fake it till you make it, is misleading. You should never fake your well-being, as this emotional state is what makes you ambitious, giving you a reason to live. Before we go any further, let's define happiness and help each person in this room understand what it means for themselves, as everyone may approach it differently. For me, this feeling is characterized by fulfillment, as in being satisfied with what you have, and by finding your purpose in life. These two aspects are crucial for being a positive person. Happiness makes you more successful and more productive, like at school or even at work. Did you know that happy employees are up to 20% more productive than the ones who aren't? According to Forbes magazine. Any job can be done with a breeze if one is happy. A study by Acre has found similar patterns to the study done by Forbes magazine. The results include a 23% reduction in stress, 39% augmentation in overall health, and a 33% enhancement in productivity. This proportion is quite significant. It is also important to note that the way we talk and act has an influence on others around us. For example, the way you speak about your workplace and your happiness impacts your children. Therefore, being in a good mood makes you successful, but also has an impact on how successful others around you will be. If you discourage them that they're not going to be as successful, they're not going to be as motivated to work hard. Now, does money buy happiness? I wouldn't say it does in all cases. Yes, money improves the quality of life, but mostly materially, especially if you're not happy with who you are. A study of 500,000 people in 123 countries has found that the lower the greater the wealth, the lower the link between meaning and happiness. This means that rich people who already have everything and can afford more and more have a harder time finding their purpose in this world, leaving them less satisfied.
Congrats on a strong speech. First of all, I like how you implicated yourself in the intro, and it was I think a good bit of self-reflection. I think you demonstrated some good perspective there by involving yourself and showing how you applied to the topic. I also thought you held very good eye contact with the crowd throughout, and your body language was very good. Don't worry too much about forgetting. That's all right.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The next finalist is Vahan Israyelyan from Secondary 5B.
Picture this. You wake up early in the morning because you have to go to work soon. You live in the city, so you decide to look outside your window to gather your thoughts and get ready for the day. Now you're looking outside that window and you're thinking, wow, that's a beautiful scenery. And you're not thinking these thoughts because the buildings are made out of some cool materials, or some are made even out of glass, but in an abstract form. No, you're thinking these thoughts because there is so much green space. Some buildings have grass, others have trees, and another one even has a mini park. And for the first time, you look up in the sky and you see the sun that is shining down on your city without any air pollution. This makes you happy, which makes you want to go to work happy, which makes you come home happy. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what green cities are all about. So let's take a look at why we need to make the shift towards green cities. According to the city of Montreal, the average Montrealer emits over 5.5 tons of CO2 per year. And the metropolitan area of Montreal has over 4.3 million people that live in it, according to macro trends. This means that the city of Montreal alone emits over 25 tons of CO2 per year. And this number is scary. Let me tell you why. According to the United States of America's Agricultural Department, CO2 is responsible for many heart and respiratory diseases. Also, carbon dioxide is the leading cause for global warming. According to climate.gov, which is the United States of America's #1 website, official website actually, for their fight against climate change. And global warming has many of its negatives. It causes the rise in temperature, the melting ice, the melting glaciers, and the rise in sea levels. This also has a negative effect on our mental health. Having subpar medical conditions makes us constantly think about if we're going to make it or not, so we're not really in a happy mood. Also, global warming can become a worldwide pressing issue, like the pandemic, which has left a lot of people with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, until this day. Also, living in a city with a lot of air pollution is very depressing. Everything is gray, there's no life, it's like nothing's fun, the life is sucked out of it. So what are the solutions? Well, green cities are the solutions. And I'm not talking about planting a few more trees here. I'm talking about adding more green space. More parks, for example, or greener rooftops. CNBC published a report about a city in Switzerland called Basel. This city passed a new law stating that every new building that would have to be built needs to have green space, a green space with grass and trees. And the project has been a major success. The residents have reported feeling happier because they have an easily accessible green space right where they live. They get a beautiful view of their city, but they also get to relax after a long day. Well, this sounds good. Is there more? Yes, there is. We need electrified modes of transportation too. According to Thrive Enterprise, we can create 1.5 times more jobs with electrical modes of transportation rather than using fossil fuel transportation. This means that we're not only helping our environment, but we're also helping the economy by creating jobs. Well, that sounds good, but are there any negatives? Well, some might say that the initial investment is a lot of money. Although that is true, the savings that we're going to be making is going to far outweigh the initial investment because we're running on clean, renewable energy. Well, what about our existing infrastructure? It's important to note that the shift towards green cities is a gradual shift. What we're going to have to do is create new infrastructure and new green cities and come back to our old infrastructure and retrofit them to make them green city compatible. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, imagine living in a city where the air is so clean, you can almost taste the difference. The world we live in today and the decisions we make in it have an impact on the world we live in tomorrow. So let's make the shift. Thank you.
I wonder if you selected this topic because I was on the panel.
Maybe.
Very, very, very strong presentation. Absolutely imperative topic to speak about when it comes to cities. Everybody lives in a city, and so it touches everyone directly. What I really appreciated about your presentation, it wasn't a plea to just switch to green cities because it's the trend, but there is actual factual evidence behind it, and you really did very good research to present it well. Your stage presence is excellent. Your confidence on stage is fantastic. I could easily put your speech on my website and have no doubt about the quality. Thank you.
Let's talk. Let's get it on that website. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah.
The next speech is given by James Crocker from Secondary 5A.
So, I want everyone to envision possessing a device capable of influencing millions, guaranteeing a victory in your next sports game, or persuading people to purchase a product that you're selling. Well, it turns out we all have access to that device right here, right now, in this very moment. And it is called the human mind. And for centuries, mankind has been ambitious to figure out how to use it to its fullest capabilities. And today, I hope to show you how we could get one step closer to finding those answers. So I want to start by saying, That constant growth of the population makes it to where everything starts to become competitive. For example, finding a job, or once you actually find a job, getting a promotion. And we could even start to see it in academics nowadays and in schools, where instead of seeing everyone helping each other out, we see everyone try to one-up everybody else. So what does this mean? This means that there's a need for awareness about psychological manipulation and how it does in fact have an impact on every single one of our lives. By raising awareness and sharing each other's stories on how psychology and manipulation has affected them, we have the power to make everyone live more mindfully and carefully when it comes to living their everyday lives. Now, what I'm going to be doing now is discussing 3 main topics which touch upon a vast majority of the population, including all of you here today, in order to share some of the knowledge that I have on psychology and how it's affected me and many, many others. So, number 1 is politics and charismatic legitimacy. What is charismatic legitimacy? Charismatic legitimacy can be defined as authority derived by the charisma of a leader and how they use their personality to then influence over the masses. Adolf Hitler is a great example of someone who uses charismatic legitimacy. We all know that Hitler was a horrible human being, but how do you think he managed to convince a whole nation, 8.5 million people, to do the wrong thing? Well, that's where charismatic legitimacy comes into play. As much as I hate to say it, Hitler was such a motivational and great speaker that even though what he was saying was complete rubbish, he was able to convey to his audience that what he was saying was right and just. See, I find it pretty scary how one man, one mind, can control 8.5 million others that easily. Another leader who falls under this definition could be Nelson Mandela, but he used his charisma for good. He used his charisma to rally people against oppression and apartheid in South Africa. See, this is how powerful the mind can be when it's used to its fullest extent. So that was number 1. Number 2 is sports. And you might be thinking to yourself, James, what do sports have to do with psychology? Well, let me tell you a little story. Not too long ago, I was playing a basketball game against another school. And I'm a pretty big guy, but during this game, I was playing against someone my same height. So naturally, I wasn't able to use my physical abilities as much as, let's say, the guy was only 6 feet tall. So what I did was, I resorted to the power of the mind. And what I did was, I trash talked. And yes, trash talk is psychology. By pointing out every little thing he did wrong, and I mean everything. If I got a rebound over him, if I blocked him, if he missed a shot, I pointed all those things out in order to get him mad. And eventually, he started to get impatient. And when you get impatient, you start to get angry. So the only way he was able to get that anger out was to foul me. So he fouled me once. He fouled me twice. He fouled me 3 times until he fouled me the 5th time, and boom, you're ejected. The court is mine now, right? So, by using my knowledge in psychology, I was able to gain the upper hand in the physical realm. So that was number 2. Number 3 is marketing. And there's so many different tricks and methods when it comes to marketing that it's impossible to go over all of them. But one thing that they all have in common is the psychological aspect. What they do is they try to create needs outside of basic human needs. For example, let's say Lea Donabedian here, or one of our judges, an entrepreneur, wants to open a basketball shoe company. And she has a lot of money, let's say, right? And she wants to hire the best of the best to come advertise for her. She's going to hire Michael Jordan to advertise. And Michael Jordan's going to say, if you wear these shoes, you're going to jump like me, and you're going to dunk like me, and you're going to play like me. Well, 99.99% of the time, Lea, if not 100, the shoe is a shoe, and it's not going to do anything. But they'll still convince you to buy it. Another method that I find fascinating, and that mind boggles me because it's so simple, but it works so effectively, is called the decoy effect. And this is how it works. Let's say you go to the movies with your friends, right? And you're feeling a little peckish. You want yourself a medium-sized popcorn. So you go to the popcorn stand, right? Walk on over. And I want you guys to listen carefully here. We have 3 different sizes to choose from. We have small for $4, medium for $6.50, and large for $7. And seeing that the difference between medium and large is so little, it's only 50 cents, you say, Why not? They'll buy the large, right? But see, that's where they get you. They made you spend more money than you originally intended. But see, this 50 cents can equate to much more when you get to bigger companies, such as Apple or Netflix, which are the biggest in their domain when it comes to smartphones and streaming services. And these companies also use the decoy effect. So just imagine how many times you've gotten fooled by silly little effects like this without even knowing their existence. And there's so many effects like this that it's scary to think that we live in a world where all these effects exist and we don't know about them. So in conclusion, don't take everything at face value. Always think twice or thrice before accepting something as complete truth, because psychological manipulation is inevitable and it's part of human nature. Getting rid of it is impossible. So the only thing we're capable of doing is sharing each other's stories with each other, sharing our knowledge, to then use that knowledge to individually navigate through our life's problems. I want all of you to remember tonight that knowledge is power. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, James.
Thank you.
You know, some people can walk in a room and just command attention. Well, that's you. You're very articulate. You had a very strong presentation. Your speech was very well structured. You had a clear introduction, body, and conclusion. Your public speaking abilities are not only strong, but very smooth. You use personal examples to explain your point and get the point across extremely well. But the best part for me was using me as an example with marketing and basketball, which I thought was very clever. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The next presenter is Aline Berberian from Secondary 5B.
Did you know that eating a couple of blueberries a day can help you add up to 5 years to your lifespan and minimize your chances of developing autoimmune diseases by 5 times? Packed with fiber, rich in vitamin K, and a plant with the highest levels of antioxidants, blueberries are a nutritional powerhouse. It is guaranteed that adding this fruit to your diet will help you increase your general health. And did you also know that half of the things I just told you, I completely made up? Yet I'm almost certain that I had at least a portion of you eager to run to the grocery store. Nevertheless, it's still a great fruit with tons of health benefits, but not as life-saving as I claimed it to be. And now that I revealed this information, you went from feeling convinced to feeling fooled. However, if I had done the same exact experiment on someone that I knew needed to adopt a better lifestyle, better eating habits to get healthier per se, or to overcome a certain disease that they were overwhelmed by and gave up on putting any effort into anymore, suddenly what I did would seem more reasonable and quite a good tactic to your eyes. And so that manipulative, negative air of mine would now seem more mindful and intelligent. You see, we often view this type of behavior as vicious, deceitful. In fact, the Merriam-Webster dictionary describes the word manipulate as to play upon artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. Artful, shameful, insidious are just a few of the words that came up as I researched its roots. But I believe it's time we change our perception of this term. I think refusing to acknowledge that manipulation can be a useful tool holds us back. And so the question I'll be answering by the end of these 7 minutes is, how can we leverage it for our collective benefit? How can we embrace it as a stepping stool for personal growth and societal progress? And before I move on, I want you to keep in mind 2 very important words: positive manipulation. After reflecting for a while, I found that we're actually a lot more ambitious in it than we think. Here's one example. Seriously, I got a 55 on my first math exam of the year, and this term is so important for CJET. Okay, before I panic too much, let me just calculate this. So, let's just say I get all 90s on the rest of my exams. Spoiler alert, not happening. So if I get all 90s, that would mean that my average would come about to 84. That's not that bad, I can work with that. More ambitious to downplay how bad you did,
rather than take a moment to actually observe your paper and try to figure out what type of mistakes you made, as terrible as that sounds, there's actually a beneficial part to it. You see, you've acknowledged the fact that you didn't do well, and instead of giving up completely, even if it seems a little push to say that you're going to get all 90s, you're striving for a certain goal. You're quote-unquote lying to yourself into thinking that you can do so much better, which indirectly pushes you to put more effort in the future. This brings me back to my first story about blueberries. Sometimes exaggerating future outcomes can be beneficial to the betterment of yourself and of those around you. Nevertheless, there are plenty of other branches to this ideology. Another dilemma that I can think of that I'm sure all of us have had to face before, starting a new job. Entering a new environment in which those around you know close to nothing about you. This gives one an incredibly favorable advantage to shape themselves as the stupidest in the room. Take a moment to think about it. Put your ego aside and place yourself in a room full of people who, not knowing you, are very impressionable. Don't present yourself as a know-it-all, even if you might be more experienced than them. Instead, let them underestimate you. Let them think that they're there to teach you, and not vice versa. This manipulative method can help you be one step ahead of others without having to hurt anyone. If done in the right manner and applied to almost all situations, this method could help increase any type of success in the future. I could even give a less professional example. I'm sure all of us have known or know a girl in high school who loved to hear about drama, but would never involve themselves into it. That unproblematic girl who seemed so close on the outside, but in reality, she was the one people would confide to when they had something to get off of their chest. And so, presenting herself as uninvolved would actually help her be one step ahead of others on the weekly gossip. Which brings me to my final and possibly most controversial argument. Be ambitious in creating artificial connections with those of higher status to get ahead. Now, let me rephrase so you don't get the wrong idea. I'm not suggesting anyone to form fake relationships, but merely proposing that in order to get ahead, it's strategically intelligent to get closer to those of higher rank. In fact, a poll conducted by Forbes magazine found that people who took this approach were 44% more likely to find success in the workplace. If done authentically, individuals can reach more opportunities, get more experience, and continue on climbing the social hierarchy, while making sure to subtly offer something small in return, like working a couple of extra hours, for example. In other words, to get further in life, make sure to offer more to those who you know will help you excel quicker. Manipulate the situation, not the person. So, as weird as it sounds, embrace the role of the stupidest in the room. Convince yourself of the best possible outcomes and positively manipulate those of higher rank. Gerard Ward once said, "You are a manipulator." I like to think myself more as an outcome engineer. So let's all, in some way or another, manipulate our friends, our coworkers, our family members, and maybe even ourselves, but not to deceive one another. Instead, to help each other better ourselves. And before I leave the stage today, here's a final thought. Isn't a persuasive speech essentially a form of positive manipulation? Thank you.
Congratulations, Aline. First of all, I want to start by saying that the execution of your speech was really amazing. I love how technically you started by manipulating us, and it really put into context what you wanted to say. I also love how you didn't only talk about the bad sides of manipulation, but you also highlighted the good sides of it. You also maintained a really good eye contact with the crowd the whole time, and you have an amazing body language when you're giving speeches, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The next speech will be given by Viken Ketchedjian from Secondary 5B.
An iPod, a phone, an internet browser. an iPod, a phone, an internet browser. An iPod, a phone, a revolutionary internet communication device. Aren't you getting it? These are not just three separate devices. This is one device, and we're calling it the iPhone. Was said by Steve Jobs when he first presented the iPhone, a revolutionary device that would change the world as we know it. Now, let me ask you a question. Who here doesn't own a smartphone? Now that's what I thought. Now, look at this. What, looks like a piece of metal, maybe a screen cameras? What if I told you this holds so much more value than you think? What if I told you this is the most important item that a person can own in their daily lives? Well, just hear me out. Let's start with accessibility and connectivity. Now, your smartphone lets you access the internet. I'm sure you know what the internet is, but I'm sure you didn't know it has 175 zettabytes worth of information. That's 175 trillion gigabytes. For reference, your smartphone probably has 64 to 128, but let's focus on the 64. You would need 2.7 trillion phones to locally store all of the information on the internet. Now, if you were to take these phones and stack them, you can go to the moon and right back down. 1.2 billion times. That's an unfathomable number, which also makes people think that certain maybe classes that we take in school could be rendered useless, such as history class. Now, don't get me wrong, I love history class, and I don't think any form of phone or I don't think that any form of phone or internet could replace the art of teaching. But the Surpagop student spends 480 hours sitting in a history class. That's 20 days. And imagine everything you learn, every single piece of information that you learn in that class is in your pocket. I'm just saying. Now, let's continue. Not only can you access the internet using your smartphone, you can also do other functions such as making money. Okay? I know people who have made money using their smartphone, and I think it's a very nice skill to have. I also think in the future that most jobs will be replaced by jobs from your smartphone. I think people using their smartphones for jobs will have much higher pays than a worker at Walmart or Subway. But you can also organize your life, with a calendar app or a journal app. But most importantly, you can take pictures, take videos, capture moments, memories, make memories, create memories like this one. I can turn around and take a selfie right now. I'm not going to do it, obviously. But you can also make social connections. You can call people, you can call your friends, your loved ones. They can be in Australia or Singapore, but you can talk to them as if they're right in front of you. But most importantly, you can make emergency service calls. In Canada last year, there were 2.5 million emergency calls made. God forbid these people didn't have a cell phone. God forbid they were in danger. Now, thanks to smartphones, our world is becoming a safer and a better place. But there are some other things you can do with your smartphone, such as entertain yourself, maybe watch videos, watch movies, or even listen to music. I personally listen to music every single day without fail, and let me tell you, it's a delight, and I couldn't live without it. Now, what does this show, ladies and gentlemen? This shows that us humans went from nothing to things like this, things like the James Webb Telescope, a telescope that has the capacity to take pictures of stars that are 28 million light years away. Or artificial intelligence. I'm sure you guys know ChatGPT, right? That AI that can make 10,000 word essays in under a minute that you can also access using your phone. But that's just little things, There's so much more you can do. But there are also some downsides, obviously, like social media dangers or addiction. You guys know that one student, I'm talking to the Surpagop students here, the student in the hallway just walking like this, not watching anyone, just You know, that's addiction. But we have to use our smartphones the right way. We need to use our smartphones to be more productive, more efficient. We need to use our smartphones like Steve Jobs would want us to use our smartphones, the right way. Now, obviously, to conclude, smartphones are not just an object, they're not just a piece of metal like I just said earlier. They are something way more valuable. We should use them the right way. They are the most important object that a person can own in their daily lives. The smartphone is not a technological wonder itself. Well, obviously it is, but it is a gate. It is a gateway that opens a world, like I said, ChatGPT, or the internet, or even being able to access the pictures from the James Webb Telescope. It is a gate that opens a wide range, a world of technological wonders. The smartphone is the key to our future. The smartphone is the world in your pocket. Thank you very much.
Viken, congratulations on your speech. I like how you involved the crowd, with the opening. Obviously, it's a topic that everyone can relate to. I found you pretty charming on stage too. You made the crowd laugh a couple times. You had good stage presence. So overall, it's a great job.
Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The upcoming finalist is Vyke Ajemian from Secondary 5B.
When you have a fever, you call a doctor. When your skin itches uncontrollably, you call a doctor. When you are unsure about your body and your health, you call a doctor. Why? Because doctors save lives. Indeed, being a physician is a job characterized by compassion, kindness, and most of all, ambition, as people become doctors to give back to the world. Medicine is a constantly evolving science and requires very high attention to detail. Practicing it day to day is very challenging for both the body and the psyche. Unfortunately, not everyone has a doctor. According to a recent study conducted by Global Youth, more than 6 million Canadians do not have access to a family doctor that they can see regularly. If we did not have to worry about our health all the time, we would be more inclined to take bigger risks and aim for greater accomplishments. We need more doctors to pursue our own ambitions, as having more doctors makes the world a better place. Everyone should be able to see a physician when they need one, as it is only human to ask for help. If you do not have a doctor, then who will help you when your body needs it the most? Who will save not just your life, but countless others as well? In 2023, according to the CBC, there were 268 unfilled residency positions for family doctors in Canada. All of those missing doctors represent tens of thousands of families without physicians. Thus, government institutions should focus on encouraging young people to pursue a career in medicine, as we certainly need more doctors in this country. For example, in high school, we only take biology in our 3rd year, which is insufficient, as learning human anatomy and how to react during emergencies should be essential knowledge for all of us. There should be more biology classes in our curriculum, and the government should implement a mandatory first aid class for all high school students, similar to the Norwegian education system. In fact, according to Eurostat, Norway has 516 doctors per 100,000 inhabitants, the 2nd highest in Europe. For perspective, Canada has less than half of that amount. These changes can make a big difference as more anatomy-oriented classes attract students and motivate them to become physicians. Furthermore, working in the healthcare industry is often seen as stressful and demanding. While this may empower some ambitious students,
It can often drive others away. We should work on changing the public's perception of healthcare workers by introducing mentorship opportunities to high school students. Doctors themselves should have one-on-one interactions with the youth to inspire and encourage them to become medical practitioners. Young people would be much more stimulated if they actually talked with practicing doctors instead of simply learning about the field in class. As a bonus, meeting doctors at a young age helps build connections and might facilitate job searches in the future. However, the final aspect which turns people away from studying medicine is the high cost of tuition. Although Quebec has numerous policies which lower the cost of medical studies, some provinces do not. A medical degree from McGill University costs around $7,500 per year, while one from the neighboring University of Toronto costs about $26,000 per year, more than 3 times the McGill rates. Governments should offer more scholarships and work on reducing the cost of higher education to allow more people to study medicine. Becoming a doctor should be about ambition and merit, not about money. If we do not work on training more medical personnel, the situation could get out of hand very easily. This means more waiting and worrying for the patients, such as you and I, as well as more stress on the doctors themselves. Physicians will become overworked, and fewer students will be inclined to pursue such an already demanding career. That is why governments and institutions should focus on encouraging the youth to pursue a career in medicine, and they can do so by implementing more biology courses, a mandatory first aid class, more scholarships, and mentorships. Then, if you need medical assistance, you need not wait in the emergency room for hours on end in the middle of the night. You need not worry about getting an appointment with a doctor when almost every clinic in your area is fully booked. You will feel safer and protected by society, as having more doctors equals faster service, without necessarily decreasing quality. In the end, having more doctors builds ambition in society. It is about saving lives, helping people, and facilitating grander accomplishments for society as a whole. People should be able to pursue their dreams with less anxiety about their health. Caretakers are essential for our society, and we cannot function without them. We need them to pursue our own ambitions. With more doctors, we can pave the way for a better future with a more supportive healthcare system. Finally, as the famous psychiatrist Carl Jung once said, medicines can cure diseases, but only doctors can cure patients. Thank you.
Well done, Vyke. Excellent, excellent presentation. A topic that is very topical. It's on everybody's mind as we age. Well done. You're clearly passionate about the subject, and you're very confident and comfortable on stage. So well done with your presentation. Very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah.
The next student is Silvy Kourtoukian from Secondary 5A.
I was only 9 years old when I lost everything. We fled Syria to find refuge in Canada with barely anything on our backs and had no idea what to expect. When we first arrived, there was a lot happening around me. I didn't really understand what was going on because I was just a kid. People wanted to talk to my parents, so they told me and my brother to sit on a small bench and wait for them. At that moment, I held on to my brother as if he were my anchor in the storm of the unknown. Just like any child, I was mortified. I was surrounded by a sea of unfamiliar faces, and I just wanted to go home, my home. I longed for the warmth of a place not lost to ashes and dust. But
despite the language barrier that separated us and the world around. A ray of kindness pierced through. A compassionate lady approached me and my brother, offering us teddy bears that would become symbols of relief. In her welcoming smile, I found a glimmer of hope, and I knew then and there that mankind's humanity would be the reason that I was able to start the next chapter of my life. Today, we gather to explore a specific topic that resonates deeply with the very essence of humanity: immigration. Through my personal journey, and I'm sure some of yours too, I think we've witnessed firsthand the impact of compassion and the role it plays in fostering understanding and unity. It is important to understand the different dimensions of immigration. First of all, let's talk about the pursuit of better opportunities. According to the International Organization for Migration, there was a global estimate of 281 million international migrants in the world in 2020, which equates to 3.6% of the global population. These people often leave their countries of origin to find better opportunities, economic, educational, or otherwise. The pursuit of a brighter future reflects humanity's ambition to improve one's circumstances, not only for oneself, but also for future generations, which is exactly what our parents and Armenian ancestors who were subject to the Armenian genocide did to ensure that we grow up in a safe environment and have many opportunities in life. Second of all, migrating to a new country requires adaptability and resilience. Immigrants often face challenges related to language, culture, and unfamiliar environments. The very act of immigration showcases humanity's ambition to overcome obstacles, adapt to new circumstances, and build a better life in the face of adversity. Immigrants also face challenges like racism and discrimination, yet they resiliently defy stereotypes and persistently advocate for their rights, for equality, for a better life, and for a brighter future for their children. Last but not least, on the subject of standing up for people, welcoming people into a new community reflects humanity's ambition for compassion and solidarity. It shows our shared dream of creating societies where kindness beats bias, and where our strength together overcomes the hurdles that tough times often put in our way. It shows our capacity to lend a helping hand to those in need, showcasing a commitment to human rights and the well-being of all individuals, regardless of their background. That's the beauty of humanity. Immigration showcases humanity's ambition in various dimensions, whether through the pursuit of better opportunities, adaptability, or compassion. It is a powerful reflection of who we are as people and the society we aspire to become. So let's strive to embody the resilience and compassion demonstrated by immigrants, aspiring to be better, more compassionate, and more united in the face of adversity. As Kamala Harris said, our unity is our strength and diversity is our power. So let's be one, let's stand together.
Silvy, excellent. Your introduction gave me goosebumps, truly. You have a beautiful way of conveying your message. Your body language, your facial expressions, your voice tonality made your speech a very good speech versus a good speech. I admire your confidence and passion, and I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank
Congrats.
you very much.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The next finalist is Manuel Taslakian from Secondary 5B.
All right. So Ruben Karaian, decorated author and professor, once said, "When a language dies, so much more than words are lost. Language is the dwelling place of ideas that exist nowhere else. It is a prism through which to see the world." Language. What is language? Language is what sets us apart from other creatures, and even other peoples. Every known human society has had a language unique to them, and though some non-human beings may have their own way of talking to each other, none of those methods of communication even begin to come close to any human language in terms of complexity and authenticity. As I said, language is also what sets nations apart, which then translates to it being each and everyone's weapon against the perishment of their people from this world. Every nation's weapon, perhaps their strongest, against the threat of disappearing from this planet. What a beautiful way to describe the word language. Yet throughout time, we've seen so many of them disappear. Why? How? We have to stop letting our uniqueness die out, simply because we might be living in a foreign country surrounded by people of different cultures. Learning a few new words a day would be enough, but the vast majority of us simply choose not to. We don't make that little bit of extra effort. Why? In 2010, Western Armenian, which is the dialect spoken outside of Armenia, was added to UNESCO's endangered languages list. Every language on that list is assigned a severity level on a scale of 1 to 5, ranging from vulnerable to extinct. Western Armenian was added to the list with the designation of definitely endangered, which is one level of severity more than vulnerable. According to UNESCO, this meant that Western Armenian kids were no longer being taught their mother tongue at home. This was 14 years ago, in 2010. Today, how often can I walk down the hallways of Surpagop, the supposed best Armenian school in Montreal, perhaps Canada, and hear an entire sentence in Armenian? Not too often. Dear parents, and of course parents of the future, I suggest the most simple solution, yet I don't see many doing it currently. When we speak to each other, as Armenians at least, let's stop sneaking those few words of English or French into our conversations. And when we speak to our kids, let's talk in only Armenian. Let's teach them our beautiful language since their childhood, as they'll have plenty of time to learn other ones. Then, when the time comes, let's enroll them into Armenian academies. Let's seriously invest not only in our communities, but in our future. This way, when they actually start attending school, they'll speak to their friends who will have also spoken the language for the first 6 years of their lives in Armenian. This way, in secondary school, when they get to Armenian class, they won't be bummed out because for another hour or two, the teacher has to explain to them every single word that they struggle to understand while reading the book the night before. They'll have a genuine discussion in Armenian about Armenian literature. Is that not what the language class is supposed to be? This way, when they grow up and eventually become parents themselves, they'll do the same thing with their kids, influenced by us. And the cycle just continues forever. When a person speaks their mother tongue, even unconsciously, they fall in love with it. They form a strong bond with it. Already, our land and country are in danger of disappearing, as the neighbors still wish to finish what their ancestors started. So if we have Armenians that do not speak their language, their job will only be easier. And in a millennia, heck, a few centuries, all Armenians could be wiped off the face of the earth. Now, if all is done right, and Armenians have mastered their language, we will have people that love their identity so much, they have such a strong bond with it, they'll fight for it, for the continuation of life of their people. That way, we might actually have a chance at survival on this ruthless earth. I'll finish with this. Let's take that step. Let's take initiative. Let's not let ourselves be influenced by what surrounds us. And let's use our most powerful weapon, our language, to take hold of our fate. Thank you.
Very well well done, Manuel. I really loved your speech. I think it was, first of all, I really loved the choice of topic. I think it's really relevant to the issues, especially our community is going through these days. And I really loved the examples you gave, the historical context you gave us, and it was overall a really great speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
The upcoming competitor is Harout Choulgian from Secondary 5B.
Benjamin Franklin, the man on the $100 American bill, once said, "Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are." As we define justice, personal interpretations will lead us to different answers. As we try to achieve justice, we foster a fair environment, and most importantly, we fuel humanity's ambition. Now we realized that we had been taking some unjust actions, and we started to fix them. The biggest improvement that we had is positively reinforcing people instead of punishing them. We started to send criminals into rehab centers where they invested themselves with the help of guides. We realized that prison was objectively unhelpful. That's because rehab showed us better results. In fact, people that come out of rehab centers have a lower recidivism rate, which is the tendency towards the repetition of a crime. Now, you also have to know that prison has a dark side. According to Statista's website, only in 2021, 149 prisoners passed away. That was the lives of 149 people who had the right to live. Also, economically speaking, prisons destroy our economy. The federal government spends well over $125,000 per prisoner yearly, which comes from, guess what, our tax money. Now, the second thing that we improved is the educational opportunities. Just by taking the example of Finland, we can improve so much. In Finland, everyone has the right to go to school and to university for free. Not only they do that, they do it in a way where everyone gets the same quality of education. Now you might be thinking that we're getting close to the utopia that I'm describing, but I'm going to show you how far we still are. According to Oxford Treatment Center, only 11% of American criminals get the right treatment. And also, the educational opportunities in Finland are way different compared to Canada. We know that by giving people second chances and enough time in rehab, we can have people who know how to set and achieve goals. We also know that we won't be discouraging anyone if we give equal educational opportunities to every single citizen. Now, what do you need to achieve this? I suggest the following 5 steps. Step number 1 is self-education. In fact, the most important part is to educate yourself on the injustices that exist in this world. Step number 2 is to talk with the people who have been victims. Step number 3 is to protect the defenseless by raising your voice. Number 4 is to boycott the big corporations. And finally, step number 5 is to give something. Whether it's your time or your money, there are plenty of organizations that fight for the same goal as you believe, and they deserve your help. Now, if we don't follow these steps, we won't have any policy changes. And the number of unfair actions will increase. Why? Because we won't be boycotting the big corporations. Big corporations like Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Kraft, Johnson & Johnson, Kellogg's, and the list goes on. Have you ever bought a product from any of these companies? I'm sure you all did. But did you know they are responsible for pollution, political influences, and most importantly, unethical labor practices. Those three are against your morals, but who knew that? We all lack the first step that I mentioned earlier, which is self-education. To conclude, justice is essential because it influences us by making us more ambitious. By giving people second chances and enough time in rehab, we can improve our society. By giving people equal educational opportunities, no one will be discouraged. But the only way to do it is to be united. Is to believe that one's problem are your problems as well, because we are all born equal. The only way to improve is to improve together. So remember the quote, justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Thank you very much.
Great job on your speech, Harout. I like how you opened and ended with a quote. I feel like your speech came full circle, which was really cool. I appreciated your tone. Your confidence was very good. And you just had good stage presence. I think you really captured the room, and you showed, good knowledge of your topic, which was great.
Thank you very much.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
Finally, the last competitor is Nayiri Joukakelian from Secondary 5A. Will artificial intelligence take over humanity? The idea that technology may eventually bring our doom seems to come straight out of a movie or a novel. Well, that's because it's a prominent concept in science fiction. We see the same formula repeated over and over again. Technology goes haywire, and suddenly the world is overrun by super intelligent machines. Many fear that this dystopian cliche may soon be reality rather than fiction. Others, on the contrary, are very optimistic and keen to explore the possibilities of AI in the future. Now, I bet I know exactly what you think of when you hear AI. ChatGPT, a new, innovative way to cheat in school. Well, I've got news for you. Artificial intelligence is everywhere and has been for a while now. AI is revolutionizing our world in a way that we have never seen before, and we are here to witness it. It is by far the most ambitious advancement humanity has done yet. However, its future remains uncertain. The idea of artificial intelligence actually goes back thousands of years, with myths and rumors about self-functioning machines, although the 20th century holds the key advancements leading to modern technology. So, despite what we may think, AI is not a brand new concept. In 1950, Alan Turing published his book, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, which proposed the famous Turing test, used to measure the intelligence of a given machine. He thought, if humans use knowledge and reasoning to solve problems, why can't machines do the same? Later on, the Dartmouth Conference in 1956 gathered top researchers for 8 weeks of collaborative reflection and discussion on AI, during which many important concepts were developed. However, these scientists deeply underestimated the complexity of the task. Essentially, artificial intelligence systems analyze and interpret huge amounts of data to create patterns. To put things into perspective, a program that would take a modern tool 1 second to process would have taken a computer a few thousand years in those days. So let's just say they didn't have that much time in their hands. 2 technological advancements paved the way for the AI revolution. Firstly, the increase in computing power allowed machines to work faster and analyze information at incredible speeds. Secondly, the internet and social media have become important outlets for information. Uploading a photo, clicking a link, liking a video, and buying something from Amazon all contribute to generating data that can be fed to an algorithm. Machine learning allows AI to imitate the human brain by constantly learning from examples and using that knowledge to achieve certain goals. For example, To classify photos containing either a cat or a dog, it first learns from a series of images by identifying similarities and differences to discern the two animals. It is AI's capacity to learn without human intervention that makes it such a powerful tool. It is also extremely efficient because it can process data much faster than humanly possible while practically making no errors. Despite people's worries, this revolutionary tool is and can be very beneficial to society. The possibilities are endless. Perhaps you're thinking to yourself, whatever, I don't care about AI, it has nothing to do with me. The truth is, as I mentioned earlier, AI is everywhere. It is integrated into platforms we use every day, like Google, YouTube, or Netflix. It's the reason we see recommended videos and ads. Who do you think makes that For You page? When applying for college or a job, AI systems will probably go through the applications and reject some before they even reach the eyes of a real person. And these are just some of a panoply of examples. It has a huge impact on our lives, whether we realize it or not. This new technology is already being used in so many different fields, like healthcare, finance, business, transportation, law, education, security, banking. That is just the beginning. With AI quickly evolving, each subsequent version is exponentially more capable than the previous. It has the potential to completely alter the world we live in. But as a famous uncle once said, with great power comes great responsibility. To continue these incredible advancements safely and responsibly, I believe we must address present and potential ethical concerns. AI is only as smart as the data given to it, which can cause biased information. The use of data also raises legal concerns, like copyright issues. It can also promote job loss. As a matter of fact, a petition has been signed by Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and thousands of other tech leaders and researchers to pause further development because of their rising concerns, though this remains pretty controversial. In my opinion, specific rules and regulations are indispensable to ensure a bright future with technology. And spoiler alert, machines will not rule the world after all. Expert systems can function by themselves, yes, but it is still human technology, and humans are in complete control of it. We cannot, however, deny the power and potential of AI to change the way we live, which is why we should still be careful. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing our everyday lives. There is no doubt about it. It has stepped out of the realm of fiction and integrated itself into many spheres of life and work. Technology is rapidly changing, and the world will have to change with it. The question is, how? Thank you.
Well done, Nayiri. You successfully took a topic which every teacher in this amphitheater right now thinks is an example of human laziness, and taught us that it's actually about human ambition and how we, over time, had the ambition of creating machines that think for us. So well done on that. I adored your stage presence. You clearly are very confident in your knowledge and your delivery, so well done.
Thank you.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
While the judges reflect on the choices for this year's competition, we would like to present something new. During the month of December, the secondary 5 students chose notable speeches. Each group was tasked with creating a declamation speech, which is a reimagining of a speaker's past work. To take you through this, please welcome Aline Berberian, Aline Berberian, Lea Donabedian, and Gassia Melik.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
Today, we are going to present a declamation speech that is called Why Every Kid Deserves a Champion by Rita Pearson. So, also, one of our teammates, Aline Berberian, is going to recreate the speech. So the speech that we chose, change the slide. So the speech that we're going to present talks about how every child needs a role model and someone to look up to. The speaker is Rita Pearson, who's a really well-known teacher who spent the majority of her life being an educator. Change. All right, so a little bit about the speaker. Okay, so she was born on October 27, 1951 in Houston, Texas. She was married, she's a mother of 3, also a grandmother of 3. She has a whole family of educators, 40 years of experience, but she sadly passed away just a few months after giving her speech. All right, so both Rita Pearson's parents and grandparents were educators, so she's seen a lot of different perspectives of different teachers. So she knows all the ins and outs of educators. In addition, she was also an elementary, regular, and special education teacher, junior high school teacher, counselor, assistant principal, director, testing coordinator, consultant, and a licensed professional counselor. So she knows a lot about having a connection with the students. The main idea she wanted to really talk about and share with the world was the importance of human connection. How important it is to have a good relationship with the students in order to make a real impact in their lives. So now I'm going to read 2 quotes, and this kind of gives you a good idea of how she thought and the mindset she had about teaching. For every student that finally got it, for every rookie teacher that said, "You inspired me to stay," I get the raise that never quite made it to my paycheck. So for her, the most important part of her job was to make an impact on the kids and encouraging even the most difficult students to never give up. Also, encouraging and helping other teachers understand the importance of human connection between them and the students. Now the other quote is, "I made it my business to know everything I could about my students. I went on home visits and shopped in the neighborhood stores so I could be certain to run into the students and the folks they lived with. Some of my best parent-teacher conferences were held in the produce aisle at the grocery store. Many may consider my actions extreme. I called it preparation for what might lie ahead." So most teachers wouldn't even think about taking that extra step to create those connections with the students and the teachers. But to her, this was a crucial step to understanding them and helping them have a connection with their teachers so they can confide in them and be more comfortable into talking to them. Okay, so why is Rita Pearson the right person for this speech? So there are many reasons for this. Firstly, she's been an educator for around 40 years, which means she's experienced and she knows what she's talking about. Secondly, she has spent her entire life in or around the classroom. Therefore, she knows the requirements and behaviors of a child on a daily basis. Rita has been a role model and a huge influence for her students along the course of her career, and she knows the influence that a teacher who motivates and empowers their students can have. She proves the importance of being a teacher who truly cares about her students' well-being and listens to them, and about stories from her life as a teacher. For example, there's one called School Starts at 8, which was a funny one about a mom who always complained about her son being penalized for coming in late for school. There's the one called Walk, Don't Run, which was about a student who made a huge mess in the cafeteria because he ran, and so on. Those are just funny, remarkable short stories about moments that marked Rita in her career that teaches all a lesson. Okay. And now we're going to watch a short video segment of her speech that is called "Why Every Kid Deserves a Champion."
No. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to...
Okay, so to summarize this speech, feeling safe and valued is vital to a child's development, and it is teachers who play a big role in that. So Rita mentions that there is not enough champions. She means that there is not enough encouragement for the kids to better themselves. So she basically aims this mostly at the teachers because these are the people who we're with every day, so they have a huge impact on us. She mentions that the problem is that most of these teachers aren't there for the right reasons, so they don't care about acting like the role models that the students need. Okay, so what the point of the speech is, basically the main sentence here is that every child deserves a champion. This means that every child deserves an adult who's going to be there for them, never give up on them, and who desires for them to become the best version of themselves. So she's speaking to persuade educators to form connections with their students because it would be boosting their academic achievements as well as their self-esteem. She also mentions that it is in the nature of teachers to make a difference. They are born to make a difference. So once again, she's just encouraging educators worldwide.
Now we'll be analyzing what makes a good speech. So the speaker's voice has to be loud and clear for everybody to hear, and they need to have specific characteristics like confidence, charisma, authenticity, and passion. Confidence is to show that you believe in what you're saying, charisma to keep everybody entertained, authenticity to show that this isn't just something you learn by heart, and of course passion to demonstrate that you really like your topic. And of course, body language, so eye contact, hand movement, and of course, moving around the stage. So here are some other remarkable speeches that everybody knows of. Of course, we have Martin Luther King's speech, Nelson Mandela's speech, and Malala's speech. And these are all remarkable because the speaker had all of those characteristics. So now let's see what makes Rita Pearson remarkable. She was a remarkable speaker because she had a very loud voice which showed her authority over everyone. She was also very confident, and her facial expressions showed her emotions. When she was telling a happy story, she was smiling and walking around, but when she was talking about more serious topics, her facial expressions changed and she was more serious. So she walks around, her palms are open, and she's always smiling and interacting with the audience. Now we'll be recreating Rita Pearson's famous speech.
Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators, and for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over that time, I've had the chance to look at education reform from many different perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, sufficient, but some of those reforms have been not so good. And we know why kids don't learn. We know why kids drop out. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influence. We know why. But what we never discuss, or what we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer once said, "No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship." George Washington Carver says, "All learning is a form of understanding relationships." Every person in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I've watched people teach. I've seen some of the best and I've seen some of the worst. And talking about some of the worst, I had a colleague once and she said to me, "You know, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. I should teach it, they should learn it, I should teach it, case closed." And I looked at her and I said, "You know, kids don't learn from people they don't like." People think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship, or you don't. But I think Stephen Covey had the right idea when he said, you have to throw in a few simple things, like seek first to understand, as opposed to being understood. Simple things, like apologizing. Ever thought about that? Try saying sorry to a kid, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I went back to check the teacher's edition, and I realized that I had taught the whole lesson wrong. And so I went back to class the next day, and I said, "Look, guys, I need to be honest with you. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I am so sorry." And they looked at me and they said, "That's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited we just let you go. I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this class in 9 months from where they are now to where they need to be? How am I going to raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievements at the same time? And so I gave a quiz once, 20 questions. A student missed 18. I put a +2 and a big smiley face on his paper. And he came back to me after class all perplexed and he said, "Miss Pearson, is this an F?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Then why'd you put a smiley face?" And I said, "Well, you're on a roll. You didn't miss them all, did you? And when we review this lesson, won't you do better?" And suddenly, so confidently, he said, "Yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks so the life out of you. +2 says, I know that bad." For years, I watched Nectar go on afternoon visits, stay after recess, buy cookies and crackers and peanut butter for the kids who didn't have anything to eat, and some soap and a washcloth for the kids who didn't smell so good. And years later, I saw some of those same students come through to her and say, "You know, Miss Pearson, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to see how far I've come." And a couple of years back, when my mom passed away at the age of 92, there were so many of her former students at her funeral that it brought tears to my eyes. Not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know, it's your toughest ones who are never absent. They show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationship. And while you won't like them all, the key is that they can never, ever know it. And so teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to school when we don't feel like it, and we're listening to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to think, who were not afraid to take risks, and who had a champion. Every kid deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the value and importance of human connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? Sure it is. Of course it is. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to take a short moment to share something that I know Mr. Liu is proud of. To tell you what that is, let's welcome the current host of SHTV, Naomi Manouk, to the stage.
Hi, I'm Naomi Manouk, host of SHTV. As you all must know by now, SHTV is Surpagop's English Department YouTube channel where we post weekly episodes that promote our school and student life. SHTV is a collaborative effort, and all your involvement helps make the channel more visible within our community. That is why we are always looking for your engagement to help us promote and make every episode more engaging. This year marks SHTV's 3rd anniversary. The channel's growth in subscribers and new content is a true testament to all our resilience and innovative spirit. Therefore, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for being followers of our channel and to be sure to tune in every week, but particularly on May 11th, which happens to be SHTV's 100th episode. To all our viewers, here is a sneak peek of our milestone 100th episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because it really does help. Thank you. tune in on May 11th for our 100th episode.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest.
We would like to thank you for your time tonight as we presented another incredible series of speeches and projects. Before we announce the results of this year's competition, we would like to invite our esteemed principal, Lea Donabedian, to the stage for a few closing remarks.
Merci. Օքեշ մութե շատ չգերեվի պորսոլավե ամեն անգամ որ ես պետք է խոսք առնեմ միշտ կսեմ նախ ուրախ եմ որ ջաջ չեմ որովհետև չեմ ինչպես պիտնեք եւ երկրորդ շատ դժվար է աշակերտների հետ խոսք առնել so վարձկերից կդար աշակերտներ գիտեմ Լեան դագավին տասյետ չի մտավ վնաս չէ գբադահին ասանք բաներ թյուրին չամ եմ մարդու արժեք խոսիլ գրնամսել որ իմ ամենաճի սրած կորդիս բաժներն մեկն է վարձկենիտ կադար շնորհակալ եմ մեր panelistներում որ իմիջարոց բոլորն շրջանավարն են Սուրբ Ագոպի so congrats hats off to that կարծեմ լավ կորձրած ենք Եդևը technical crew բարոն Վարդան մերսի որ text message-ներս կարնեիր եւ գործեիր մայքի գացությունը շտկել եւ a huge thank you to Mr. Lou for I love how he has a way of disappearing when, you know, he's put on the spotlight. But none of this would be possible without the dedication of an incredible teacher who's thought up this showcase for the English department. We've been doing it for 5 years, and I just have to say that it was his idea to name it the William Saroyan Public Speaking Competition as a nod to the Armenian community. So I invited Madame Longrois because, as I said, I really don't like public speaking. So now she's part of the team. So we'll give the prizes together.
All right. So I would like to congratulate all 12 students who talked today. Ambition has many forms, and this is what you all showed us. So thank you for your speeches, and thank you to everyone who came tonight.
The third place winner of the William Saroyan Public Speaking Competition is Vahan Israyelyan. Second place winner is Silvy Kourtoukian. And the first place winner is Nayiri Joukakelian.
I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best. Deep within my mind, I'll put all my fear to rest. Cause I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best that I can. I gotta study, I'll cram, I gotta make up a plan to give me some kind of chance. I gotta enter a new mode or else I'll get KO'd. My life's at a crossroad, I'm ready to reload. I gotta learn some kind of lesson from my past. I made mistakes but I learned how to react. I love the chase but I need a new path to have a chance to get what I wanna grab. A good life has a good purpose, something that makes everything that you're doing worth it. Something with a bigger meaning that's under the surface, cause that's what's gonna keep you working. It's a journey to make it, I got a life in the making. I choose how I'm gonna shape it, I got new lights in rotation. I flip a switch, I'm fixated, I'm sick of patience and waiting. My destiny is awaiting. I will be the best, headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best. Deep within my mind, I'll put all my fear to rest. Cause I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. This life is a journey worth taking, every breath in it is sacred. It gets hard and frustrating, but trust me, you just gotta embrace it. Cause what's a journey without enemies? You need some friends, a foe, and an identity. You need an arc, a battle, a little tensity. Create a little bit of energy. I know we don't start the same, but life ain't fair, that won't change. You can't expect that from games, yeah. You might be worse off than others, but better off than another. So just move forward, discover, yeah. What you like, what you need, what you see. Every little thing that you wanna be. Figure out how others get it and respect it.